share this morning. Kiss the sunrise with my eyes. So
What up? DJ Grizz here, alongside my co-host,
Roberts.
First, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors. First up is Kiss My Souls. They are a clothing company out of Toronto, Ontario. They sell clothes, apparel, sweats, t-shirts, and Jordans, Nikes, things like that. If you go to the website at kissmysouls.ca and use the promo code DJ Grizz, you can get 20% off all clothing, not the shoes, sorry. Give them a follow at Kiss My Souls INC on Instagram. And Haiku, they are a vegan edible company. They make lots of delicious treats that get you toasted, and it's all 100% vegan. Give us a DM on Instagram at lastcallpc, and we will give you information on how to get in touch with them. Next up, we also want to give a shout out to Haley's Club at West Edmonton Mall. This episode is going to be a little different. We're just going to do an interview. As you've seen some of the posts on our Instagram, I have Sickle Cell Anemia, and I just did a bit in the hospital. And we're just going to conduct a little interview here about Sickle Cell Anemia. This is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And so Dylan's going to interview me on what Sickle Cell Anemia is and what it causes and things of that nature. And we will be doing a fundraiser at Haley's Club next month. At the same time, they also gave us a few, what do you call these?
Gift certificates.
Yeah, gift certificates for a 3-course dinner for 2. We're going to be giving some of these away on our Instagram, so make sure you follow us, and the contest details will be on there shortly. This is Last Call, and this episode, like I said, is going to be a little different. We're not doing any segments. This is going to be just a straight-up interview-style podcast today. So let's get started.
All right. First off, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this, man. I know that this is a very personal subject for you, so I just appreciate you let me conduct this interview today, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right. So first off, what is sickle cell anemia? For those that don't know.
Sickle cell anemia is a blood disorder. Instead of my blood cells being round and healthy like a normal human being, they're misshapen, shaped like a sickle or like a crescent moon, and so it doesn't carry enough oxygen throughout my body, and also causes the cells to get jammed up in vessels and stuff like that, and it causes very painful episodes that we call crises, and they're very painful and can cause a lot of complications. That's pretty much the gist of what sickle cell anemia is.
All right. Who is affected by it?
Who's affected by sickle cell anemia?
Yeah.
A lot of people are affected by it. A lot of different races, different countries. I don't really know how to answer that question.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I just know a lot of people. It's like I find that there's not a lot of people that when you mention it that know or have heard of it,
Right.
like not a lot of people know someone who is affected by it. Right. So
I mean, a lot of people back in the day used to call it the black people disease because it was a predominant number of blacks that were affected by this condition. It started out in Africa, and it was like a genetic mutation that, because anybody who has sickle cell anemia cannot be affected by malaria. And it was a way of the body kind of defending against malaria, but also causing another issue, you know. But there's a lot of different people. I know white people, Chinese people who have sickle cell anemia.
So anybody can be
Anybody
affected by it.
But it's mostly a hereditary disease.
Okay. Is there a cure for it?
Yes and no. Back in the day, there was no cure or anything like that. I'd say about 10 years ago, they started doing this thing with infants that if they were tested for sickle cell and it turned out that they had it, they could do a bone marrow transplant in the baby that would reverse the effects of it. And now, today, there is... actually, there was a nurse here in Edmonton who had sickle cell anemia, and there was a cure kind of thing going around the States. It was very experimental, and she just went ahead and did it on herself. It's basically you have to have a sibling who has the same blood cell type as you, or whatever, stem cell type, and it's a stem cell transplant. And so what they do is they do the stem cell transplant. So they take out the stem cells from the person affected with sickle cell anemia and replace their stem cells with healthy stem cells, and then the body starts producing healthy blood from those stem cells.
Wow.
So yeah, there is a cure, but not everybody is able to receive it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's still very, very new, so a lot of places aren't doing it. They're only doing it if you have a sibling who is a match. It's not very widespread yet.
Well, hopefully with modern technology, they can come up with something over the years.
I'm pushing the doctors. I'm pushing them, telling them that because I know a lot of my friends and other people who I've acquaintances, let's call them, who want to get tested and want to see if they're a match.
Right.
So I'm kind of pushing the doctors right now to give the green light for that. But
my hand is up, man. I got you. You just let me know. Say the word.
I appreciate it.
How does somebody get sickle cell?
Yeah, like I said before, it is a hereditary condition. Two people have to have what is called a sickle cell trait. A trait is not the same thing as a disease. It's just, I don't know really how to explain that. It's a sickle cell trait. And so if two people have the trait, then their children can get the disease.
Oh, okay.
Right? But if one person, if the dad has a trait but the mom doesn't have the trait,
yeah,
then there's no chance of a child having the disease. There's a chance of the child getting a trait, but not the disease. But if both parents have the trait, then there's a higher chance of the child ending up with full-blown, what they call SS, sickle cell disease.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually segues perfectly into my next question. Are there different types of sickle cell?
There are different types. I don't exactly know the different types that there are, but there's different genotypes. So, and people get tested to know what their genotype is. And mine is SS because I have full-blown sickle cell disease. But some people are SC or SF or whatever, and it's different types of traits or different types of sickle cell that don't exactly affect the person the same way as somebody who has the full-blown sickle cell.
Okay, that makes sense. So how does it affect your day-to-day life?
It greatly affects my day-to-day life because it's something that attacks my body on a day-to-day basis. It affects my immune system. So I can catch, colds and things like that very easily. Um, I mean, and also like because it's a type of anemia, so causes me to be tired and um, have low energy and things like that. So I could wake up one day feeling great, and I could wake up the next day in pain or extremely tired. So it just depends on how I'm feeling that day. Um, it just uh, it just depends on how I'm feeling that day and how I can go about my day.
Right.
Yeah.
So going with that, what precautions do you have to take when you're preparing for your days?
Lots of water. It's very important to stay hydrated. I don't know. I need to keep warm because being cold is a trigger. It can trigger a crisis. Staying well rested and ensuring that I get enough sleep is also a big part of it as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the treatment for it, and how often do you receive it?
There's different types of treatment for it. Like some people just get blood transfusions, which helps out with the red blood cells. Some people there's a drug called hydroxyurea, which is basically it's a cancer. What do you call it?
Like chemo?
Yeah, it's a chemo drug.
Okay.
Which helps the body produce healthy blood cells. I was on hydroxyurea for a while, but it didn't work for me. I didn't really have any effect on my condition. So then there's another type where you get a red cell exchange, and what that is like I have a portacath in my chest, so it's like under my skin, and it's connected to like a main artery, a main vein.
Okay.
And it's a double lumen, so it has 2 ports that they can put needles into. And then they hook me up to a dialysis machine. So through one, they're taking out my blood, and then in the other, they're giving me donated blood cells.
Okay.
So I get about 15 bags of blood, which are red blood cells. The machine separates my red cells from my plasma and gives me back my plasma with the healthy red cells. And so 15 bags would be, works out to be about 3.5 liters of blood.
Wow.
And the body holds just over 4 liters of blood. So they pretty much exchange all my blood out for healthy red cells. And so I do that every 6 weeks.
Every 6 weeks.
Yeah. And it keeps me feeling pretty normal for the most part.
Yeah, for that 6-week duration, you're feeling pretty good.
Decent.
Yeah. Depending on obviously all the other triggers.
Yeah.
What are some things that you do to manage the pain?
One of the main things I do to manage the pain would be I'm on painkillers like every day. I wasn't always this bad. Like it wasn't always this bad. But recently it's gotten to the point where I'm in pain every day. So I have to take about 14 milligrams of Dilaudid like every 4 hours just to deal with the pain and stuff like that. So there's that, and like I said before, drinking lots of water, keeping warm, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been talking about crises. So what is a sickle cell crisis?
Um, the sickle cell crisis is when um, I my body's triggered by whether it be cold weather or stress or whatever, um, and the blood, my hemoglobin starts to drop, and which means that my body's not producing like red cells at all
Okay.
properly, and all my cells are sickling, and they get stuck in like an artery or in a vein somewhere, and it causes pain. I've had crises in every bone in my body. I've had them in every joint. You can get pain anywhere, pretty much. The most common one is called an acute chest syndrome, which is just pretty much just excruciating chest pain. It falls with infection, and it usually turns into pneumonia. So when I'm in a sickle cell crisis, if I can't manage the pain at home, I need to go to the hospital where they give me painkillers and fluids and antibiotics in order to stop it from getting worse and to get ahead of the pain and to start lowering the pain and controlling it.
Right.
Yeah. And you can also have crises not just in the body, well, yeah, in the body, but like not just in my limbs and whatever. You can also have them like in my brain, which then it would mimic a stroke. So I've also had like sickle cell crises that happened in my brain, and it's just like having a stroke. You have the same symptoms, but I don't have the prolonged damage or effects of an actual stroke.
Wow.
Yeah.
So going back to that, how do you manage your stress and anxiety?
That's a good question.
By the way, I don't help.
No, you don't. I avoid people like you. Anybody that's a stress in my life, and I cut them off. I don't need any stress. Stress is the number one trigger for somebody with sickle cell anemia. It's not good. So like you have stress triggers and emotional triggers. Like if I get too excited or upset, that will trigger a crisis. Like the weather, when the seasons change, that can trigger a crisis. Cold weather, if I'm not staying warm or dressed warm enough in winter, that'll trigger a crisis.
Right.
What else is there? I'd have to say, what was the question again?
How do you manage your stress and anxiety?
Right, so like, I don't know. I try to, stay as calm as possible, and video games are a great distraction. Keep me out of my head.
Right.
Started going to like therapy sessions. That's been a big help because you end up with PTSD because of the sickle cell crises. Like I've had crises so bad to the point, like, for example, when I was 12 years old, I woke up one morning and I was having a hard time breathing. I ended up having a really bad chest crisis and my lungs collapsed. And while they were trying to repair my lung, they pierced the other lung. So both lungs were collapsed and gaining fluids. And during that time, I was on life support for about a month. I died 5 times. Once I died for half an hour. I was dead, woke up with the sheet over my head and all that. Like, it was pretty crazy. So, you have to just try to stay calm and take care of your body. Diet is a huge part of it. So I try to eat as clean as possible. I've started juicing, which has made a huge difference. Drinking lots of water. You gotta stay hydrated. dehydration is a huge trigger as well. Prodigy from Mobb Deep, he died from a crisis that was triggered by stress and dehydration. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so yeah, that's a big thing. And just, try to enjoy life and take it day by day. Obviously, music is huge for me. I just try to, I try to make my life as stress-free as possible.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I admire about you is even though you go through more than 95% of people have to go through in an entire lifetime, you're always so positive, and that's like super inspiring, man, because you don't you shouldn't most people wouldn't be positive in that.
Right.
Nobody likes being in pain. I hear people complain about their back being in pain all the time, and I kind of just like laugh. Even when I feel any sort of pain, I kind of just like couldn't even imagine. So the fact that you're able to stay so positive most of the time is inspiring, man, for sure.
I appreciate it. I kind of don't have a choice. I have to.
Right.
My life kind of depends on it.
Yeah.
If I was walking around being negative all the time, that would just stress me out and put me in a bad place, and I'd be dealing with crises all the time.
Yeah.
And the pain is just, it's incredible. Like, it's extremely excruciating. It kind of feels like shards of glass running through my veins. It's the best way I know how to describe it.
That's descriptive enough, I think.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And it gets to the point where even last week when I was in the hospital, I ended up having a full body crisis, and that was just pain from head to toe, and got to the point where I couldn't move, I couldn't be touched, because my skin became so sensitive. Like it was just, everything hurt. And all you can do is just get fluids and painkillers and ride it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to some of your triggers, what's the best climate for you to live in? Not Alberta.
Actually, Alberta's climate was one of the reasons I moved out here.
Huh.
Yeah, it's cold, but it's dry. You know what I mean? Toronto is it's a very wet cold, and it doesn't matter how much you dress up, it shoots right through you. You feel it. Out here, at least if you bundle up, you're good.
Right.
So I'd say like a dry climate. Altitude levels obviously make a difference as well, because the higher you are, the less oxygen there is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like even things like flying is an issue for me. Usually if I fly, when I land, by the time I land, I'm in crisis, because of the lack of oxygen that's up there.
Yeah.
So I have to take precautions. Sometimes I have to take oxygen on a flight just to make sure that I'm straight. So, yeah, just a dry climate would be dope. A warmer climate would be dope.
We need to get you on a beach somewhere.
That'd be dope.
So you touched on this a little bit already, but what are some of the steps you take to just remain as healthy as possible?
Like I said before, lots of water.
H2O.
That's like the best thing I can do for myself, is just to stay completely hydrated as possible. I drink probably around 4 to 6 liters of water a day. It used to be a struggle, now it's just second nature.
Wow.
Yeah. What I eat, I need to eat as clean as possible. I'd say What's the question again?
What steps you take to remain as healthy as possible?
I try to live as stress-free as possible. I try to stay diligent with my doctor appointments. Those are important. I get my treatments on a regular basis. I try not to miss any of those. Light exercise helps. I can't go too hard though, because if I go too hard, I'll exhaust my body, and that's also a trigger.
Right.
Take my medicine. I'm on blood thinners and painkillers and stuff like that. So just keeping up with my medication and lots of water.
Okay.
Yeah.
And lastly here, what can the people at home do to educate themselves?
If you know anybody with sickle cell anemia, feel free to ask them questions about it. I'm sure they won't mind. If you want, you can ask me. Hit me up on my Instagram at DJ Grizz. I'll accept any questions. I don't mind answering questions about my condition. There's also Sickle Cell Foundation of Alberta. You can check out their website. It's ours, scfa.org. There's lots of information on there about like what sickle cell anemia is and how to spread awareness and things like that.
Okay.
Just Google. You can Google it. There's lots of websites out there about it. Hit up a library. Stuff like that. Also, if you're... I just want to give a shout out to anybody out there who donates blood. You literally give me life. I would be dead without it. So I heartfelt thank you to anybody out there who takes the time to go out of their way to donate blood. And if you'd like to learn more about that and maybe look into donating blood yourself, check out Canadian Blood Services at blood.ca. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Wow.
And also, yeah, I don't know. Just the information's out there. You just gotta find it.
Right.
Yeah. And like my partner, she's amazing. She's taken the time to educate herself on it, and not just by like asking me questions or coming with me to my appointments, but I know that she's gone out of her way to research things on her own, because she'll like tell me like, oh, make sure you do this or make sure you do that, or just things that I know but I didn't know that she knew.
Right.
And I could tell that she's been like researching it.
That's awesome.
It's really dope to like have somebody in your corner who really like is down for you like that.
100%.
They'll go out of their way to educate themselves on something that you deal with on a daily basis. It's dope. It's inspiring.
Definitely. All right, man. Well, like I said at the start, thank you for this. I think this is gonna be great to help spread the awareness and just inform people on what not only you but so many people deal with on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah. No, thanks for this. You had some great questions. You did a good job.
Thank you very much.
I just wanna give a shout out again to Haley's Club, and like I said, we're gonna be doing a fundraiser for Sickle Cell Anemia Awareness. It's coming up in October, so stay tuned to our Instagram for more details on that. And yeah, sorry that it took us a while to get back into things here. But yeah, I was dealing with a sickle cell crisis at the hospital, and even when I got discharged, when you get home, it's not over. You still have to. I'm not 100% yet, but I'm getting there. and I've had a few rough days. So thanks for being patient with us. But we are back, and we're excited for everything to come this season and this year. So stay tuned for more episodes, and we love you guys. Thank you. God bless.
Much love.
Kiss the sunrise with my eyes. So every time